we are keeping alive the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, with the sunnah of dua.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to hearing what we can learn in these Mustahab acts, and obviously hearing you reciting. So today, well, welcome first.
Thank you.
And would you like to go into discussing what?
So this dua is one of the most important ones, and it's also the smallest one, which is considered more than just a dua, by the way.
So why did you say it's one of the more important? That's got me fascinated already, because it's a short one, and you're saying it's one of the most important ones.
It's one of the shortest, but it's one of the most important as well.
Okay.
Because what this one tells you, it tells you that when something pleasing befell the noble prophet, he said, Alhamdulillah. Now, Alhamdulillah, when you're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is you thank him more than you have to ask him. You have to thank him at every single part of your life. This is why I say it's the shortest dua, but it's the most important.
Yeah.
Because you're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, no matter what you need from Allah, no matter what you already have, you thank for. You thank for the reason why you woke up this morning. You thank for a blessing that you have, breathing, looking. My body parts are working properly. I'm able to walk. I'm able to work. I'm able to speak. I'm able to see. These are all blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without you even thinking. You know, some people say, my life is rubbish. Why? There's people out there who have to sleep for the rest of their life, who are in a coma for the rest of their life, who have to be on a wheelchair, or have to have a guide stick because they are unable to see. You are blessed. You are blessed. Even this person who has no ability to see.
Even the one hit with the calamity should say Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, shukr Allah, you have chosen this for me and I accept it. You have given acceptance to what Allah has chosen for you.
And maybe they say, I can't see, but I could see with the spiritual eye, or I can't see, but I can hear.
Exactly.
And maybe Allah could have took my hearing as well.
No, like you say, Alhamdulillah for having Allah like yourself.
Absolutely.
A God like yourself. People ask, well, how do you, we say Alhamdulillah for love. People tell you, you believe in a God that you can't see, and you can't touch, and you can't feel. How do you believe on such Lord that you can't see? Okay, we tell them, do you believe in love? So of course I believe in love. Can you see love? Yeah, me and my wife. No, that's
you see your wife,
in
you
love.
don't see love. Yeah,
that's in love. But you don't see the actual love, the feeling of it. But you know it's there. Same as pain. You can't see pain.
Dinner. They'll say, she makes me dinner.
Makes me dinner, exactly. Same as pain. You can't see pain, but you know it's there and you feel it. And same way, love, you can't see, but you feel love. We feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to be thankful for that. And that's the only reason you're thanking Allah is because you're feeling His blessings.
But I think when you are a thankful servant, you have a maqam anyway. It's a sign of a believer. But something interesting on coming up to New Year's Eve last year, and we're going past the station, and there was, obviously London has quite a high proportion of relatively other parts of the country, homeless people. And there was a gentleman, one was taking shelter. It's raining, and he, as we went past, he just shouted so happily, "Happy New Year!" And I just looked at him, and I thought he was laughing. He was cold, with his sleeping bag,
full of life,
and yet his joy just came out, and just his smile, and his teeth were rotted. And you think, that's gratitude there, because you have such little around you, and yet in that situation you're still wishing good upon others. And I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it, when you're a grateful soul? That light.
It is easy to feel sorry for yourself if you felt there's something that I should have had, but I didn't have it, or something that I should have been able to keep, but it's gone away from me. Oh Allah, how could you do this to me? So it's easy to feel sorry for yourself. But Alhamdulillah, this is power.
Alhamdulillah. This is something you have to say always.
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah. You're just eating Alhamdulillah. Ala ni'mati. We ask for so much sometimes as human beings, and we know so little of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us everything that we need to live and survive and do what we need to do. Allah has given you a mind to think, to expand your knowledge, expand your knowledge on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left for you.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot more to what you see in your naked eye. You know, sometimes when you have this inside you so much that when you close your eye, you still see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And again, in a previous episode, you mentioned Sayyidah Zainab, and you think, you know, the lesson of Karbala, sometimes you might think life has overwhelmed you, and you just have to look at that lady and think,
I see nothing but beauty.
Absolutely. So how can we even complain for the situations we have? Nothing can be in comparison. So you mentioned there's two parts of this dua. So one is the
sections.
So I'll recite them both. The two sections. So they're both the same. It's just alhamdulillah. You're saying alhamdulillah for everything you've given me, and alhamdulillah wa shukr for everything you have been blessed with. It's two the same meanings, but Rasulullah just used to use any of them, to be honest. So one of them is like, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. اللهم لك الحمد أطعمت وأسقيت ورويت اللهم لك الحمد أطعمت وأسقيت ورويت فلك الحمد غير مكفور ولا مودع ولا مستغنى عنك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. He says, Alhamdulillah for this blessing that you have blessed me. And Alhamdulillah for everything else that's occurred. So whatever you've blessed me with, whatever you've given me, Ya Allah, I thank you for that.
And this when you look at his maqam, when we say he is the greatest of creation, he wasn't just given that honor. When you look at, he said that his calamities in comparison to all the previous prophets was much more difficult.
Of course.
And when you look at the time when Lady Khadija, often pondering her life, and towards the end that they didn't have a coffin for her. So living in situations, and for him to be teaching us, can you be worse than this? I mean, we've got to look at the context and think there's so much wisdom here.
Yeah.
I've heard a sheikh say that the Anbiya, their trials and tribulations weren't to teach them, but it was to teach us.
Absolutely.
As an example for us, because we could, I guess, psychologically cope better, or we can find that as a source of spiritual strength to say these are the highest and purest of people, and they were tried, and this is how they dealt with it. So then us as regular, people, we can gain strength.
I mean, they were complete guides, weren't they?
Absolutely.
And the spirituality is element in that. So. Thank you. That's really
no. It's beautiful. I mean, from one small word, a million meanings comes out of it. Endless amount of meanings. You can't stop thinking about it. And this is the wonders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives you something so small, yet it's so big. He gives you one word, which literally is the whole meaning of your life. Thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being alive is just something very small that you can do. Bihaq Allah. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You thank him for everything. You thank him for the majalis we have.
Yeah.
Which religion do we have that has as much details as us?
Yeah, definitely.
No religion in the world has the details that we have. Has the beauty that we have. Now, if you ask anyone, okay, when is the birth of this person? They'll turn around baffled. But when you ask a Shia or a lover of the Ahlul Bayt, he'll tell you this day, that day, and this is what we do, and this is where we celebrate it. And we celebrate these things. And the details are hadith. We have a hadith from not only the Prophet, from their sons who have their brothers, and there's a hadith going non-stop. And these are the things that help you in your day-to-day life. So we have to be blessed and thank you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for giving us this detail and this blessing of being in a majlis.
But these du'as also, they like, it's not just a prayer to ask Allah, but it's also the words. If we reflect on them, it's like you can actually learn lessons about theology, about philosophy, about different things in Islam just by reflecting on the words.
And I think it would be sort of detrimental for ourselves if we just took the words and say, okay, I'm just uttering them, but without connecting our heart to our words and making it more meaningful. But talking about gratitude, and often when I talk to colleagues or whoever, that is not a Muslim, And so there was a conversation recently, and somebody said, "Oh, that lady, she's bitter." And I said, "Well, what is she bitter about?" "Oh, she had a failed marriage, and she's bitter at men." As an example, that was a conversation, and I was thinking, I was quite taken aback because the attribution of the negativity, and I thought, how can we're so blessed to have if we go through a trial, we see it as a positive. If we have a blessing, we say Alhamdulillah, is exactly what this dua is saying, and yet we all go through tribulations in life, and yet to come out negatively would be such a sore state for us to be in, such a sad state. And at every point you're saying, even when something distressing, he's saying, "Thank you, Allah, for this situation."
Because there's still good in it. There's still good in it. If you don't recognize the good in it, then it is just tribulation, right?
And then you would become bitter, and you would become, and that's so sad because you're only harming yourself in that state by being, you're unpeaceful, aren't you? And that's exuding to others.
You're closing yourself on the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you close yourself, when you're always depressed, when you're always negative, all that negative vibe around you, people don't want to be around you. You'll die a lonely death. And for a Muslim to die a lonely death is the worst thing, because the only thing that maybe saves you from the adhab just a tiny bit is other people's prayers, that they pray for you, or when they come to your grave and recite the Quran. These things ease the adhab. So a lot of these things, when you're depressed and you just don't want to be around people and you're very quiet, and because of what's happened in your life, and you've neglected the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, you die. You go on that side. Some people are not strong enough, but there's some people who aren't strong enough, and there's people who won't help the person who is not strong enough. This person needs help, needs loving, needs an open arm.
I think that's the concept of brotherhood, isn't it? That is what was beautiful about Islam, is that we look out for each other. There's descriptions of what it entails to be a brother. I mean, I don't mean as in a gender restricted way. It's obviously brothers and sisters that we are.
Believers, we don't abandon. You know what I'm saying? As believers, we don't abandon each other. We can rely on each other. There's certain criteria, not just by name but by practice, right?
We're meant to be each other's backbones and support, and we all go through trials in life, and it's actually part of that. Alhamdulillah, is that be that support to somebody else, and be that blessing for someone, that maybe you'll put that smile on their face in their dark days.
And even in the secular world that we live in the academic world tends to be quite secular. They even acknowledging in psychology, in the fields of psychology, the power of spirituality, this power that prayer has on people's mental health and well-being, in terms of them actually treating their own anxiety, treating their own depression by their spiritual, spiritual practices. It's a source of strength, not just tablets.
We neglect. We look at the physical. We go to a doctor and we say, "Oh, we're ill like this." But the spirituality, when you're saying about, in another program, that the exposing of other people's sins, that's a sickness in our soul, and we have to overcome those diseases which we can't see, but we've got to recognize the traits, haven't we?
Of course.
And pray Allah take that out of our life, take that desire to do that to other believers out of our life.
We have the blessings. We have the blessings of love. I don't think any other religion has this kind of, any other sect in the world has the love that we have to each other. Why do we have this love to each other? Because we love the same people. And we're serving the same people. I mean, when I go to a majlis, the love I see when I see the brothers is, yes, give me a big hug, and I love distributing hugs to the brothers, because it gives you that light inside you starts to shine. And you're like, wow, alhamdulillah, this is a blessing. Why is everyone so nice to each other? Why is everyone so united? It's because of the love of the Ahlul Bayt, of the love from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Ahlul Bayt is a blessing to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the things that, it takes place that we take so lightly. So when you say alhamdulillah, it's not something so difficult, but yet it means so much to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you've remembered Him, you've given Him thanks, and it's something easy to do. For you to thank someone,
how would you say that helps you then, in the eyes of Allah, by you thanking Him?
You feel better. You're like, okay, I just thanked. Even though, like, sometimes I'm struggling at work, for instance. And then I think of someone who doesn't have a job, and I'm like, alhamdulillah. That automatically makes me feel a lot better. You're still stressed because you're still at work, but when you think of someone that doesn't have your blessings and you say alhamdulillah for what I have, You've accepted, alhamdulillah, a very large amount of this weight comes off your shoulder.
Because that's your psychologically, that's you imposing that weight on yourself. So
yeah, of course.
Zikr is a reminder that...
Yeah, it's all happening in your mind.
Yeah.
What happens in your mind? Stress kills mind cells. You know, it kills off your mind slowly. You know, that's what stress brings, anxiety. And that brings panic. And when you start to panic, that's when it kills you. It leads to depression.
Depression
And the whole thing comes through just, overthinking things. But when you learn to, when you're overthinking something, you say, Alhamdulillah, you feel so much nicer.
It's looking at things as a glass. I have a cup here of tea. It's half full, or I can see it's half empty.
You reminded me.
So I think that's the concept, isn't it? Like, look at life as half full rather than looking at a cup and
state
thinking.
of mind. That's the power of the mind. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really
pleasure.
enjoyed our chat today and our
me.
more enlightenment. And inshallah, we will see you soon.
Inshallah. See you.
And up next is Sister Masuma Jaffer, who's going to continue our series on hijab and etiquette and with some hijab tips.